Another day in the car, or another night in the RV. The channel is another day in the car. But here we are.
Oh,
We are going live, coming at you. Come on in.
mobile
We're just
portable
gonna
studio.
we're just gonna babble at the screen for a little bit.
We're going to experiment with the light as we wait for
And
people to
playing with the
show up
light,
as well.
and wanting troll hunters. That's what we call our mods. We're wanting some troll hunters for.
Come on in, come on in, come on in. Kill some trolls.
Yep.
I hope I can say
hunters.
that.
We need troll hunters.
Slay some trolls. Here we go.
And
Come on in,
let's say so.
everybody.
We're needing our troll hunters, and we hope this Sunday night is treating you fine. And if this isn't Sunday night where you are, let us know where you are and what time of day it is. For us, it is Sunday night. We've had a rather busy weekend, and
There's been a lot going on. We had the memorial for what's his name?
yeah, the Charlie Kirk Memorial, which I saw was getting tons of views everywhere. People were live streaming it, but I didn't go watch it.
Well, we're not set up to live stream right now. We do have the capability. We do know how. We just not doing that kind of content.
Yeah,
right
not
now.
doing that kind of content. We're gonna be doing more of like hanging out and talking content. We will be doing some true crime stories and story content. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Good to see you too, and Susie.
I think we'll start off talking about old Travis Decker's on deck tonight.
Yeah, we've got a few different things that we've spotted in the news and on the YouTubes and whatnot.
D4vd.
Yeah, the singer D4vd, who is quite popular in the younger generations group. I honestly hadn't heard of him until the remains of a young woman were found in the trunk of his Tesla.
Going to be talking about.
So we'll talk about that.
Bear, of course. We're going to mention something about Bear.
And of course, we're going to mention Bear.
Maybe a little bit with the arrest affidavit. Do you have that on deck tonight?
I have it, but I wasn't going to go over that. I was going to talk about the witness list. I do have all of my Barry papers here, though. I dug them out of the storage trailer and brought them on in here. So we've got everything ready to go. So,
hi, Rainbow.
Hope all is
Edie,
good with all
Susie.
of you.
I hope you can hear us this time.
And so, which do you want to start with, Travis or D4vd or something else?
I don't know.
I think I'll just pop in with Chad Daybell, because I know that you aren't overly interested in him, and I'll just make it short and sweet. And it appears that old Chad Daybell has not changed a bit. He is still trying to spin yarns, trying to claim that he is not guilty of the crimes that he has been convicted of, and he still has great love for himself.
He's all like,
and does not want to admit anything. He's like in denial, even though he can't come up with a good explanation as to who else could have been the guilty party instead of him. He just does not want to have the bad press. He's still
in denial.
He's a gigantic narcissist, and he doesn't like that his reputation or image or whatever took a hit. So, no changes in Chad. I'm going to dig into more of his prison letters and whatnot in a different video. Just wanted to say that those of you who thought he would never change, you are right. He's never going to change.
He's in denial and a way to cope because he can't change what's happened. So,
yeah, that whole family, the Daybell family, the Kylie and JJ and just so many people lost their lives so that these two twisted individuals could try to be together. Lori and Chad. Barf. Anyhow,
The like button. I only see one like in there. Let's go.
yeah, hit the likey like, subscribe, share our channel,
This channel
etc.
cannot survive without likes, guys.
Yeah,
And now it says 0.
and we are trying to grow this channel and hopefully get more followers and more people to interact and keep the community jumping, so that we've always got interesting stuff going on, whether it's what we have to say or what the people in the chat have to say, minus the disgusting people with all the porn bots and all that, that the troll hunters need to zap out of there.
Yes. Go ahead and hide them from the channel. First offense. Thank you, moderators.
And the next thing we'll pop into is Travis Decker. For those of you who, I don't know, have been absent from media and everything for the past several months, Travis Decker is a former service member, for former military person, and he started showing signs of mental instability, and frankly his wife was scared, and they separated, were working on divorce and working out custody, and unfortunately the courts determined that even though he was unstable, had was an actual threat to taking his own life, he was a threat to himself and to others, but they still decided that this guy deserved to have visitation with his kids unsupervised, even though it was for shorter periods of time. Well, the 3-hour visit that he was granted to take them over to a campground and have a picnic, that was just the amount of time that he needed to take the lives of all 3 little girls and disappear.
Do you have their little names?
Yes. Peyton was 9 years old, Evelyn was 8, and little Olivia was 5 years old. And he did not return the kids after his 3-hour visit. And first they thought it was a missing persons case, but eventually Travis's truck was spotted near a campground, and then there in the campground they found the 3 little girls deceased. He had put multiple plastic bags on their heads, and he had tie wrapped or cable tied, or whatever you want to call those zip tie things that don't back off once they're tightened. He had put those on their wrists so that they would be unable to get the bags off their heads, and he suffocated all 3 of them. That is a horrific way to go. That is a disgusting thing to do to anybody, let alone 3 little babies like that. Anyhow, then the manhunt was on.
Special place in hell for people like that.
The manhunt was on, and they searched all over the place for Travis. There were many sightings reported, whether they were erroneous sightings or actual sightings of Travis. I am not sure when it stopped being confirmed as being Travis. Anyway, people thought maybe he went to Mexico, maybe he went to Canada, and then through the use of drones, law enforcement got a skyview image about a mile from the camp where the girls had been found. They discovered a shirt that looked very much like the shirt that Travis Decker was wearing in the last photographic evidence of him existing. So they decided to go out there to that location and get a closer look.
It's very steep and rugged terrain.
And what did they find when they got there?
They found his shorts, they found his shirt, they found his chewing tobacco, and what else?
They found a pair of feet, a couple femurs, some vertebrae.
And not immediately. They found his body parts later on.
Yeah, they found the body parts later on. First they found the clothing and the tobacco, and they found decomposed material in the clothing. because by now it was skeletal remains, basically, the pieces that they were finding, and there was decomposed flesh inside the clothing, and so they sent that off for DNA analysis, but they're pretty sure, because of everything else, other things found in the vicinity, all led them to believe that this indeed is the remains of Travis Decker.
Yes.
They have called off the search for Travis Decker, but they are waiting for forensic confirmation of the DNA. But, with all of the evidence combined together, it does appear that Travis Decker is deceased. And they say that no matter what he did, he still deserves a full and complete investigation into how he ended up deceased. So, they don't know if it's a homicide or what. They're going to need to investigate more fully. In my opinion, just from following the case and doing a little unofficial profiling of Travis Decker, I'm going to assume that he did take his own life.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
It was stated that there was no firearm found in the location, but due to the nature of the murder of the 3 girls, I'm going to assume that his demise was from a similar fashion. And I am going to conjecture that it was not too long after he took the lives of his daughters, because there was still tobacco in his chewing tobacco container in his shorts. And I'm pretty sure that someone who chews tobacco is going to go through their tobacco, and there would not be any left if there had been some time. What do you think?
I think if you're on chewing tobacco, you consume every day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're out in the woods for a week, you won't have any chewing tobacco left. It'll be gone. Unless you brought, multiple containers. So.
Yeah, I guess it'll depend on how many containers they find around, like empty ones. Maybe that would give a little more idea of whether he was camped in the area or what was going on. Or wouldn't it be really cool if what actually happened to him was like he had an accident and then nature or animals took him out?
Oh, how about if he had a fall, became paralyzed, bears and cougars did the rest?
That would be cool. That would be great karma for someone. Yeah, over what he did to his daughters. That would be a poetic.
If he
end.
Broke his leg and couldn't walk. And
if he went out on not his terms.
Freaking mountain lions.
I would hope he would go out on not his terms.
That'd be.
What do you guys think?
Comment. Hit that likey button. Leave a comment. What do you guys think?
And now we're going to talk about the PDF file known as D4vd. David, who should be going to J4L very soon.
David's a bastard.
What? Even if he doesn't get charged immediately for the death of this teenage kid, Celeste, who turned 15 the day after her remains were identified. So she was 14. He was despicable.
Definitely.
Despicable man. At 20 years old, you have no business messing with a 14-year-old girl, let alone having some sort of...
Or a 13-year-old.
Full on, yeah. This guy, so gross. So groomed this girl. And, just mixing art with reality too. Checking out his songs and his music videos. He seems to put love and violence all together. And his social media accounts, he was posting memes about how, if he found his girl talking to other guys, this is how he would feel. And it's a guy cutting up cutting up pieces of chicken, or raw pieces of chicken, so like stabbing meat, and taking aim at the back of her head while she's sitting on a couch, saying hearing about other boys in her life and stuff like that. And and he's using the term boys and stuff like that, like he's a kid too. And Celeste was definitely a kid, and he was no kid. Anyway,
he was young, of course.
He was young, but he's no kid. And here he is, 20 years old, and he's got this exploding music career. And he was out on tour, the beginning of a worldwide tour.
Yeah.
And when her remains were found inside his Tesla, and it's a 2023 Tesla. And I know that at first people were scrambling to try to figure out how on earth he could be tied to this little girl. And then it turns out he could very easily be tied to this little girl and into having a very inappropriate relationship with her, because it turns out that he was on YouTube, Discord, and Twitch doing live streams with her by his side, the two of them talking in the bedroom and things like that, discussing.
We have timestamps.
This and that, and there are timestamps. And there are timestamps that, she was 13 years old in some of these, in his bedroom with him, and very much being a couple with him, being his girlfriend or his wifey or whatever it was that he happened to be calling her at the time. And when people would ask about, well, who's that girl with you, he would make comments like, you're a fed and stuff like that. So obviously he knew that it was wrong for him to be with this little girl.
He was paying off her classmates with, I assume, bags of cash.
Oh yeah, and there's photographic evidence of him paying off her classmates to keep them quiet about him coming around, meeting up with her near her home and stuff like that. The other kids were being savvy and saying, well, this guy's got stacks. He's this known musician. He had viral videos on TikTok, and he had this record deal and a world tour coming up and everything. So the kids were putting their hands out saying, hey, we're gonna go talk. We're gonna tell people that you, this adult guy, are messing around with this 7th grade girl.
And this is a current case too. And he is yet not arrested. His American tour is canceled.
Yeah, his
European tour may or may not be canceled at this point.
Yeah, it may be canceled. Not known. That's not known yet. It's not even known whether he's going to be free to leave the country next month when the European leg of the tour begins. But the entire U.S. tour has been canceled. His ad campaigns with Hollister Clothing and with Crocs have been canceled. The ads will not air. They've pulled their support of him. And also, the record company has suspended the release of the deluxe version of his latest album, which is Withered. And this was the Withered tour that was coming out. Anyway, looks like they're trying to do some spin control, but it also looks like he's guilty of more than being a PDF file. He's obviously a PDF file, but it still remains to be seen just how involved he is in the death of the little girl Celeste. How her death was discovered was that, well, first off, in February of 2024, or was it in 2023? Anyway, she went missing.
The first time?
The first time. And she was 13 years old then and in the 7th grade.
And she made it all the way from Lake Elsinore all the way up to Hollywood.
Yeah, and apparently he had picked her up in the Tesla and taken her to Lake Elsinore, to the home, from Lake Elsinore, because she lived in Lake Elsinore. And he picked her up and he took her to his Hollywood Hills home, which was rented by his manager, and it's a multi-million-dollar home with what was it, $14,000 a month?
$14,000, yes.
Anyway, he took her there, and her mom immediately put out a missing persons report. There were missing person flyers for her, and she was still in contact with her little friends at junior high, and so police learned of her location and with David, and so they went and retrieved her and took her back to Lake Elsinore. And then David continued to go up to Lake Elsinore in the Tesla, being seen by all the neighborhood kids and giving them money so that they wouldn't tell that he was there to see Celeste. And eventually, in April of 2024, he picked her up to take her to the movies, according to her brother.
Yeah.
Her brother knew that David picked Celeste up and was going to take her to the movies, but then they never came back. So then the mother put out another missing persons report on this little girl. She knew that her daughter was with David. She was doing everything she could to try to get her daughter returned to her, but
poor mom.
nothing was happening. And I'm not sure why. Is it to do with the music industry, the money? Did they just say that she wasn't there? Did they not have any proof that that she was in the house at the time, or just how come she remained away, even though she was being seen in these Discord lives, Twitch lives, on YouTube, and on TikTok with David in his home or out on dates with him. And she did video calls with her little friends with David with her.
LA County maybe should have been.
I think LA County didn't do enough due diligence there. And then the kids all said that mid-August, they lost contact with her. And they were very concerned because they had lost all contact with her. And it wasn't like her to cut off contact with her friends, even when she was off with David. And that was August of 2024, though, not August this year.
Remember?
And her school teacher also has gone public and has done
was in the know.
Cautionary tales to his classes, telling them the dangers of social media, because he was aware of Celeste's relationship with this guy, David, that she had met on social media, that he was a Twitter star, a TikTok star, and that she had run away to be with him more than once, and so he also knew that kids in the class and in the neighborhood had even told him that they had been threatening to blackmail David, and David was giving them money.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of this is public knowledge. And David was, of course, out of the state when the remains were discovered.
In the Tesla.
In the Tesla.
And the Tesla was parked on the street outside of his house.
Yeah, and this Tesla is registered to David, has Texas plates and a large dent, which all were things that caught the attention of the people that live in the neighborhood. Because, believe you me, that in Southern California,
Hollywood,
especially the Hollywood Hills,
on top,
Texas plates
it's gonna
stand out big time. They'll notice Texas plates for sure. They'll make note of it. Anyway, they said the beginning of May of this year, this Tesla stopped being parked in the driveway of David's home and started being parked in the street in front of the home, or on other streets in the neighborhood not far from the house, and then it kept being moved every 72 hours to avoid being towed. But then late August, beginning of September, the car stayed in one spot for 3 weeks. And that one spot just happened to be 400 feet from David's house.
David
in
was
the
on
street.
tour when this.
Yeah, and David wasn't on tour. The first day of his tour was July 30th.
And he was in Wisconsin when
When her body was discovered.
So Well, maybe he paid somebody to move his car around, and they got suspicious of, hey, this thing doesn't smell very good.
Because by all accounts, the Tesla was beginning to smell quite ripe and was also attracting a lot of flies.
Oh.
And so the vehicle was called in and it went to the tow yard. And then a couple days after that, the tow yard was noticing that the odor was getting really, really bad, and they were very suspicious. So they had the police come out and pop the trunk. And, to their horror, what they discovered in the trunk was a plastic bag containing the remains of a very small person weighing around 70 pounds with long, curly black hair. And, they knew by the size that it must be a child, but that's all they knew at that point. But this hit the news, and TMZ reported it too. And Celeste's mom saw the news, and she just had that horrific feeling.
Oh, no.
And she knew this had to be her daughter. That was David's Tesla. David's the one that had her daughter, and her daughter had been missing for a year. And this sounded like someone the size of her daughter. So she called the medical examiner's office and told them a very specific piece of information, which is that Celeste had shh tattooed on her right index finger. And David also has shh tattooed on his right index finger. And sure enough, the remains had shh on her right index finger.
Could you imagine being her parents right now? Oh, they must still be in mourning right now, dude.
That's got to be horrific. And they must be fuming that as of right now, David still has not been arrested for anything, but he has been questioned by police.
David, you can come on here too and talk in the comments.
Give us
by the way.
Yeah, if he happens to watch this. Anyway, he had his home raided, and they did take away a computer, a laptop, several bags, evidence bags were seen leaving the home. I'm guessing that something happened to Celeste in the home. And
I have to be patient on this. I'm sure they're going to find something.
We're going to have to be patient on this. And I really want everyone involved in this to go down for their part of it, because who all knew how many people lived in that house besides David? And we know the manager rented the place. Did the manager know that there was an underage girl living there with David?
Well, he is a rock star, so.
And but that's not okay. And did he have employees or henchmen or whatever that stayed with him, or friends that stayed with him? Did he hire someone to move that car?
Let us know in the comments. What do you guys think?
Why did the car stop being moved 3 weeks ago? Was the person that was moving the car, were they not in the know of what was in it, and then they started smelling that distinctive odor of decay, decomposition, which anyone that's ever been around anything that is deceased, they know there is a specific scent.
And there's another bombshell too that you didn't drop yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
There have been reports that she was dismembered, but also original reports stated that she was not intact. So we're waiting to discover whether she was in fact dismembered, or if she was just no longer intact due to decomposition. If she was dismembered, that would definitely show that her death was a homicide. If her death was not a homicide, it was still very much wrongdoing.
You think she was missing body pieces?
Oh my God, that would be terrifying.
Oh,
and another piece of information,
thing, come on,
is that on the Discord, it is public knowledge also that Celeste was allegedly pregnant, that the two of them, Celeste and David, were expecting a baby, and so this
This will complicate things.
this medical examination should reveal whether or not that was the case, and if so, that would be a motive. But David himself gives plenty of motives in his art forms, where he seems to like to act out the murderous, vengeful boyfriend who is jealous and wronged because his partner is talking to another boy from the past, and that he can't handle the thought of his girl talking to anyone else.
The name of his song he wrote was also...
he had one that's called Romantic Homicide. Is the one that it was his first one to go viral. And then he also had a demo song called Celeste, and in it he talks about being obsessed with Celeste, and
with her name,
with his name tattooed on her chest, and how her scent clings to him like cigarette smoke. And her scent clinging to him, and that he thinks she only likes him when she's undressed, but he likes her in a certain dress and stuff like that. And that Celeste demo came out the same day that there was a very romantic type gross postings on Discord by David and Celeste, where the two of them were obviously a couple. And Discord and Twitch have both come out with apologies, stating that yes, that was definitely David and the now deceased Celeste that was on their platforms, and that they had no idea that Celeste was underage. If they knew that this was an underage girl that was with David, they never would have allowed the footage to appear on their platforms, and David would have been canceled.
Yeah, they're kind of sticky about that. They don't like underage.
No. And so we're going to be continuing to follow that.
Yeah, so he should possibly, maybe, be getting arrested for that, or the police are working with him. See what else he'll tell.
Yeah. So we're following that David case, and of course we're following the Travis Decker case because we're just hoping that it really is Travis Decker. I mean, it's very, very, very small chance that he could have unalived someone else and put them in his clothes or whatever. But at least the girl's mother would be safe if Travis Decker is no longer alive. And
that like button, guys.
And now we'll talk a little bit about old Barry Morphew.
Barry is out on bail.
Yeah.
And some people was wondering if his bail was reduced.
He did make bond. His bond was not reduced. What happened was, in the bond hearing, the judge said that rather than just a cash bond, he could have a cash surety bond, which means that a bail bondsman could post it. What he needed to come up with would be 10%, which would be $300,000. He had been asking for a bail reduction to $500,000 cash bond, so obviously he had the means to get the $300,000. He just needed to find a bail bondsman that was willing to take him on.
I'm sure he's been looking for a while. He's been in custody for a while.
Yeah, and I'm not sure on how much the fee is on top of that, but a bail bondsman, the way that they make their money is that they also charge a fee on top of, you put up collateral and you pay a fee, and then they post your bond, and then when trial's over, whether you're guilty or innocent, they keep the fee. And if you showed up and everything and the court gives them back their bond, you can get your your deposit back, your 10% of it. And in Barry's case, it was 300,000. We actually chit chatted with someone the other day who was saying that when they got locked up, they had a bond where they had to post $500 cash, and that at the end of everything, the bail bondsman gave them back $300. That $200 had gone to the fee.
It's pretty low bail.
So I wonder how much.
Let us know if you see old Bear, and we'll let everybody know where he is.
And yeah, I really would love to know what old Bear is up to and everything. And and then segueing into another, it's still Barry, but something that I've been toying with. And so you guys can let me know whether you like this type of footage. No?
No.
Okay, I won't go into that yet. We'll just see. Yeah, we'll just see. Anyway, we'll go back to talking about Barry, and a lot of people were asking about whether so-and-so or so-and-so were on the witness list for Barry. And I am about 99% sure, Beauty for Ashes, that it was his family, and specifically the girls, who bonded Barry out this time as well. The girls and his mother have been steadfast in their support of him, whether that's because they actually think he's innocent, or if they're afraid of him, or if it's the financial control he has over them. Whatever it is, they're supporting him, and they're the ones that posted bond last time. I wouldn't be surprised if they're the ones that posted bond this time. I think all the babble from the excuse me, I'm gonna burp.
Don't do it.
No, I was not gonna burp. I was gonna cough. Anyhow, yeah, I do that. I'm human. What was I saying? Oh yeah, they bonded him out last time. They probably bonded him out this time.
Well, the girls, they don't have any other parent. They lost their mom.
Yeah,
so
and
maybe they're going to lose their daddy too.
Yeah, and I'm waiting to find out what evidence comes out in trial, because I'm not so sure on.
I'll move the camera again.
Sorry, I'm not sure on just how innocent or whether they actually believe their father's innocent, or if maybe the oldest one has their suspicions but supports him anyway due to financial reasons. I don't know. I don't want to slander anybody, but I just have my suspicions now after discovering that she co-signed the paperwork to let her dad have legal guardianship, the power of attorney over her mother, just 10 days after Suzanne was reported missing, and that before Suzanne had gone missing, that particular daughter had co-signed and approved different money transfers and things like that Barry had been doing, some financial funny business, and she was right there going along with it with her dad, and that he has funneled cash through her ever since and purchased properties in her name, things like that. I'm really curious about what all has gone on and whether or not we're going to be seeing a lot of financial forensics in this case or not. I'm going to have to go over the witness list looking at the experts and see whether any of them are forensic financial analysts or anything like that. I do know just from perusing it slightly that at least one is a wildlife veterinarian who would be able to speak to BAM and what the dosages do, and for various weighted animals. And
we should give a brief overview of Suzanne and Barry Morphew. Just start at the very beginning on Mother's Day.
Okay, and for in case there's anyone who hasn't been following the Morphew case and are wondering what the heck we're talking about, Mother's Day 2020, Colorado was in the final steps of lockdown before everything being freed up. So it was an era of silence and isolation, and
everything was being bleached as well, remember?
And everything was being bleached, and the whole thing was just ripe for domestic abuse and things like that to be happening behind closed doors and nobody being the wiser. And in the midst of all this, Mother's Day 2020, Barry Morphew claimed that he woke up in the morning early and decided to go to work on a job in Broomfield. Mind you, there was no work order, there was no work permit or anything like that for him to be working that week, let alone that Sunday. And in Broomfield, construction is not allowed on Sundays. But anyway, he decided he was going to leave early that morning to go to a job in Broomfield.
5 a.m.
And he stated that he might have kissed his wife goodbye, but he might not have, and he doesn't remember. She might have been naked, or she might have been just a lump under the covers snoring. Doesn't remember that either. Anyway, he said that eventually he tried to text her Happy Mother's Day, but couldn't get through to her, but continued on to the job in Broomfield, the non-existent job. And while he was in Broomfield, he went around to a whole bunch of different places dumping garbage. He checked into a motel before check-in time, made arrangements with them. He took a bunch of paperwork and some other things, including boots, into the motel room. Then he came back out with packages of stuff and dumped it and was seen dumping things into the dumpster at the hotel, a dumpster behind a McDonald's,
the men's warehouse,
dumpster, various other dumpsters, and and those are just the ones that the GPS lined up with a camera.
The bus transfer
There
station.
could have been other. There could have been other places that he dumped things as well. Those are just the ones that we know of. But there were several dump spots. He took a few different showers and changed his clothes a few times, as seen on camera at the hotel room when he leaves the hotel wearing one outfit, and when he goes in the hotel and comes back out in a different outfit. And he happened to request this particular hotel room, which he had stayed in before. It's above the pool, and it smells like pool chemicals. Pool chemicals being something that does smell similar to bleach and is a cleaning material and could be used to get rid of things like blood evidence. And he did buy a lot of pool chemicals that week. Actually,
yes,
that Friday from Colorado from the Stove and Spa in Salida.
Yes.
And so
they're on the witness list.
Yeah, and they are on the witness list, and it's quite possible that he was actually trying to clean evidence in that hotel room using pool chemicals.
And what about his boots? He took his boots
Yeah,
with him.
He took boots in there.
And he took his shovels up there.
And with the boots, he was asked what he did with those boots that were seen. He said that he took them into the room, and then he took the shoelaces out to recycle the shoelaces, and he threw the boots away. So that's kind of weird. And also, when later asked about BAM, an animal tranquilizer that he did have, and this is a regulated substance which, anybody that purchases it is on a federal list. They know exactly what batch number and how much you got, and you're supposed to keep track of what happens with each of those doses. Anyway, he had bought a bunch of BAM in 2017 for a deer farm that he was running in Indiana. When he left Indiana and moved to Colorado, he brought the BAM with him. He still had the syringes and the needle caps for Bam in his garage after Suzanne was reported missing. He was recorded in a conversation with law enforcement. They asked him where the Bam was, that, he should have had Bam. They knew that he had owned Bam. He admitted that he had been using the Bam in Colorado to illegally poach antlers off of deer. And so they just asked him, well, where is it now? And so he said that weekend, that Mother's Day weekend, he had also decided to clean his garage, and he must have tossed the Bam into the stuff that he put into his truck that he then took with him to Broomfield, that then he dumped in the various locations.
That's weird.
So, that is weird.
That was just the morning.
And that was just that morning.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Mother's Day.
More weirdness. The daughters just happened to be out of town on some sort of camping trip that week as well. And actually this was probably pre-planned because Suzanne had kept notes in her phone. It was in her cloud, and also had confided in friends and her sister that she was going to have a serious conversation with Barry while the girls were away. She was planning on leaving Barry. And so, while the girls were away and everything, and it's Mother's Day, and as Barry said, it's not Husband's Day. So Suzanne is alone in this remote home in Chaffee County, Colorado. And Barry hadn't been able to get a hold of her, but he did this running around, and this actual job site that he was supposed to have gone to, well, he went there for a short period of time and was probably doing something else, but, just kind of hanging out, waiting for everything to happen. Eventually, the daughters contacted him and said, hey, we tried to tell Mom Happy Mother's Day, but she didn't reply. And then he's like, try again. And then he told the girls, he didn't call the neighbors. He told the girls to call the neighbors and ask the neighbors to go check the house. So then the neighbors went and they checked the house, and they got back to them saying, okay, Suzanne's not here. And the girls contacted Barry and said, okay, we talked to the neighbors, and the neighbors say that Mom wasn't home. And then he's like, well, call the neighbors back and ask them whether Mom's bike is there. So then they sent the neighbors back to the house, and the neighbors went and looked, and sure enough, Suzanne's car was in the garage, but her bicycle was not visible there. So then they go and call Barry again and tell him, okay, Dad, we talked to the neighbors, and the neighbors say that Mom's bike is gone. So then Barry tells them to call the neighbors again and tell the neighbors to call the police and report that their mother had gone on a bicycle ride that morning and had not returned. And so that's what happened. Officers ended up finding the bicycle in a very strange location, and when Barry finally arrived on scene, he was like, where is it? Where's the bike? And not asking about his wife. And, prior to leaving the hotel in Broomfield, he went and brought hand tools, shovels, and rakes and stuff into the lobby of the hotel for the construction crew that was going to be working on this job with him.
This is all day one.
This is all day one, Mother's Day. And speaking of the work crew, the lead person on the work crew is a woman named Morgan Gentile, and she thought that it was rather suspicious too, because she had worked with Barry at a different job site on Saturday, and around 11 a.m. Saturday, when he dropped her off at her house, he told her that he would be picking her up the next evening, Mother's Day evening, and the two of them would drive up to Broomfield where he was going to reserve hotel rooms to do the job.
We can see why she would want to ride with him, because if she's driving a full-size pickup truck, this is quite a distance, and it would cost her considerable amounts of fuel. So,
And anyway, obviously Barry had been driving her around in his truck because he had taken her to the job site on Saturday and dropped her off at her house on Saturday. But then Barry says that he had decided that he did not want to drive her with him to Broomfield because she smoked cigarettes. So he called her and said that he had left for the job site that morning on Sunday, and that she now needed to make her own way there, that he had gotten hotel rooms, and that she needed to hire another person to join them. This other person is a man named Jeff Puckett, who is no longer with us. And Jeff Puckett was very vocal about how this whole thing did not seem right, and he talked about how the whole thing unfolded. Anyhow, then Barry went home and where's the bike and all that. And then...
Still on day one.
Still day one. And on day one, the boyfriend of the younger daughter and his parents and his sister had all shown up at the Morphew residence, also trying to find Suzanne, also concerned that maybe she had gotten lost on a bike ride. And on the police body cam, you can watch the shock and awareness on their faces when they are told where Suzanne's bicycle was found, and you could tell that they just realized that something was very not right. And so, oh, thank you very much, Amber. And so, the Harvey family is on the witness list. That's the boyfriend and his parents and sister. Anyway, they knew something was wrong. They had been hearing from the daughter Macy for quite some time that her parents were having trouble, and that her parents were likely going to separate, and that she and Suzanne were going to try to rent an apartment themselves in town in Salida, and that they would probably both try to get jobs. Anyway, Macy was still a high school student at the time. Very sad. And that's all day one. Day two unfolds where Barry calls Morgan in Broomfield and tells her that his wife must have been eaten by a mountain lion, and that he's not going to be able to return to the job site, and they're all going to have to fend for themselves, and please don't call him about the job. Meanwhile, the crew up there trying to work the job are trying to work the job with their hands completely tied, because Barry left them hand tools. That's not what they needed to do the job. They needed an excavator. They needed equipment, not hand shovels. And they were supposed to be getting pavers, but those were never delivered because they had not been ordered. This job had not been planned, which also is quite funny, because in the civil suit that Barry's attorneys tried to file on his behalf, one of the things that they focused in on was they were like, oh, the prosecution kept saying that this was an unplanned job, that it was that Barry didn't have the permits and stuff, but this was a very planned job. He had booked the room 2 weeks in advance, and it's like, he booked the room 2 weeks before he even knew that he was going to get confirmation for the job, because it was just 2 days before he went to Broomfield. It was on the Friday that he was told by the main contractor that they were going to approve a work order for him to do this repair job, because it's to repair a job that he had done for them that was complete crap.
We are talking about Suzanne Morphew again, as her husband Barry Morphew has been accused of unaliving her.
Yeah,
And
Brandon,
now he's out
we're
on
getting
bondage.
people
If you remember,
together
we were
on
talking about
the
that the other day.
on the Morphew thing, and before that we had talked about Travis Decker and about this guy D4vd, who are also killers. Travis Decker is most likely deceased.
Travis Decker eliminated his 3 baby girls.
And we are hoping that, I mean, most likely he did away with himself, but we're hoping that he actually had some kind of horrible mishap and had a slow and painful death. Um, and then D4vd is David, a musician, singer, who he's 20 years old, and he is under suspicion right now because a 14-year-old girl who he's been having a relationship with since she was 13 was found deceased in the trunk of his Tesla. So those were the things we talked about before talking about Barry. And we were pretty much ranting about Barry and how all this crazy stuff was going on in just the first 2 days that the wife was reported missing, and about how Barry was trying very hard from the very beginning to distance himself from the whole thing. I mean, if he thought something had happened to his wife, if he had thought she had gone for a bike ride and not returned, why didn't he call the police? Why did he keep playing phone tag through his daughters to his neighbors and ask his neighbors to report her missing? I don't know.
Now where were we?
Oh, Brandon's the father of 4 girls. Wow.
So Randy, now we lost track. What were
Girls
we talking
can-
about? We were talking about Barry.
Girls can be so cool. They can also be quite a handful. Oh, anyway.
And when did he get his house searched? What day was that?
Which one? Are we talking about Barry?
Morphew.
Oh.
Remember, the police showed up at his house.
Well, the first search at Barry's house was the night of Mother's Day, and the police were so very, very unprofessional that they were even asking Barry to get them bags to put evidence in. And, so Barry got them a bag out of the kitchen and things like that, and it's like, what is going on here?
A big old Ziploc bag. Barry hands it to them. That's not quite right, is it?
No.
I heard of that. They just wanted to sweep the whole thing under the rug.
So anyway, Barry Morphew is now out on bail, and one of the things that people were asking about was whether certain players were on the witness list, and I can verify, because I have the witness list right here next to me, that Troy Skinner is not on the list, and that was a big name popping out a bunch of times in the first trial of Barry Morphew, that Troy Skinner, I believe, is affiliated with the construction company that Barry was subcontracting out of. And
Come on.
And then we went and looked at Trevor Noel, who is Barry's nephew, and was very visible in the early days of the case, and actually was the author of a GoFundMe that would benefit Barry's oldest daughter in the search for Suzanne. And, he was quite visible early on in the case. And then all of a sudden, just around the same time that other people, even the general public, people that hadn't been boots on the ground, were also coming to the conclusion that Barry had a lot more to do with this than originally thought.
We were boots
at that
on
point,
the ground.
Yeah, we were boots on the ground. And at that point, Trevor Noel seemed to have vanished. He was no longer on the GoFundMe. He was no longer being a family spokesperson. Just all of a sudden, poof. And I looked, and no, Trevor is not on the witness list. And and let's see.
So if you want to see any footage of any of these places, like the hotel where Barry did all of this, we have footage of that on the channel.
I stuck my papers over there somewhere.
There you go.
Yeah, there's my witness list. I have all the documents.
We have a lot of footage surrounding this whole story.
And this time, I have all the documents from both the civil suit, which no longer exists, because Barry tried a couple times to file this civil suit to try to get $15 million for wrongful prosecution. But, at the same time that he's doing that, there was actually a grand jury seated, and after going over everything, the grand jury came to the conclusion that this guy needed to be behind bars and needed to be charged with the murder of his wife. And so obviously the civil suit went poof, because you can't be wrongly arrested for a case that you are currently the prime suspect in. And anyway, looking at the witness list, on the first page of the witness list, of course, there is one law enforcement personnel, but the first page of the witness list has Melinda Bomack, who is, or Beaumont, I don't know how to say her last name. Melinda is Suzanne's older sister. Suzanne was actually born on, I believe, Melinda's 15th birthday, and Melinda happens to be one of the last people to have contact with Suzanne. The Friday before Suzanne was reported missing, Melinda had a message from Suzanne where Suzanne was telling her that her marriage was in a very bad place and that she was about to make some serious changes. She was going to leave Barry. And Andrew Mormon, who is one of Suzanne's brothers, and this guy was so dedicated to getting justice for his sister and getting everything exposed that he actually came out to Colorado himself and partnered up with a team called Profiling Evil in order to have a huge investigation of volunteers combing the hillsides looking for evidence of Suzanne. And then we also have David Mormon, who is another brother of Suzanne's, the eldest brother, and he's the one who wrote the victim impact statement that got all of us crying, talking about what the murder of Suzanne has meant to him and how he wants Barry to never have another day of freedom again, and yet Barry got out on bond anyway. And the next two names are Macy and Mallory Morphew. Those are the two Morphew daughters, Macy being the younger one, who originally did tell police and other people that there was trouble in the marriage, that the parents shouldn't be alone together, and that her parents were going to get divorced, and she actually had been advising her mom to leave her dad. But then after Barry was released due to a bungled district attorney case, the case being dropped, but it was without prejudice, so that charges could be filed again at a later date, and now they have. After that, Barry went and got a national television interview where he sat there hand in hand between his two girls, and at that point in time, right there on national television, Macy lied and said that her family, that her parents had a perfect relationship. So, quite a lot of coercion and pressure there. Anyway, on the next page, I'm looking and seeing that there are several names of both law enforcement and specialists and the names of some civilian witnesses. Some of them have their addresses redacted, and
I'm moving the camera.
I'm going to be curious to see what they have to say. But I do see that one is Caitlin Rogers, and I'm trying to remember whether the Rogerses were the ones that had the birthday party that Suzanne was at, where Suzanne was telling people that she was having trouble in her marriage and that she was going to be seeking a separation from Barry. We have several law enforcement officers whose names I recognize from the previous preliminary hearing, and they were vindicated during the civil suit, and so they get to be a part of this suit as well. I see Darren Oliver, who is the husband of Sheila Oliver, who is also on here. And the Olivers were friends of Suzanne's, and they are the ones that gave her the bicycle helmet that was found.
The baby blue.
The baby blue bicycle helmet. And I know that during the first hearing, the defense tried to make some squawking about unidentified male DNA being on that helmet, and I am guessing that the Olivers are probably going to testify that Darren Oliver did touch that helmet before they wrapped it up and sent it to Suzanne. But that's just conjecture on my part. And we got Tyson Draper, who got that interview with Barry, and by the end of it, Tyson was quite convinced that Barry was guilty of something nefarious, and Barry threatened Tyson right there on camera. We've got Holly Wilson, who I believe is another friend of Suzanne's, who actually went after Suzanne had been reported missing, went and visited Barry at the house on Puma Path. I believe she had her husband with her as well, and she wore a wire, and because she was suspicious of Barry, and Barry put the moves on her. Ew.
Go, Barry.
And of course, we got Martin Ritter, which is the neighbor. He and his wife had been called by the girls on that Mother's Day to go look for Suzanne and to eventually call police because Barry wanted them to report Suzanne missing. Let's see. I see there's a Brandon Hunter from Walmart, and I don't know if that's the Walmart in Broomfield or if that's the Walmart in Salida, but that's an interesting thing, because if in Broomfield, it would be pertaining to what all Barry had got up to that Mother's Day, because he was running around making purchases and also going and running around dumping things and all this stuff, all the while fielding phone calls and text messages, trying to orchestrate this whole scenario of Suzanne had gone missing and trying to look like he was being busy on a job when he was not. Whether it's from that Walmart or if it's from the Walmart in Salida where Suzanne had her prescriptions, and maybe they would know who and when Suzanne's prescriptions had last been picked up. And let's see.
I don't know if they give that secret. That's medical.
Well, it wouldn't particularly be that, but it would be whether or not she picked them up. Just establishing a timeline of when she was last seen alive. Because I think that there is a question as to when it was that Suzanne's life was taken, and how long she may have suffered, because obviously for the BAM to have metabolized and ended up inside her bones, she was under the influence of BAM for some time before succumbing. And it's just, how long was that poor woman suffering? And then let's see. We've got a bunch of different police. Someone named Travis Mayo in Moffett, Colorado. I'll have to do a double check to see whether that is a property owner near the site where Suzanne's remains were found or not. Shoshona Dark is on there. She's Suzanne's ex. She's Barry's ex squeeze, who I'm not sure exactly when the affair with Shoshana started, but Shoshana seems to believe that Barry is quite manipulative and overbearing, and she's no longer his squeeze. We've got Lynn Barnes from the Holiday Inn in Broomfield. She's a manager, and she will likely be testifying as to when Barry rented that room and what that room smells like. We've got Cassidy Cordova, who I've heard lots of things about Cassidy's relationship with Barry. Cassidy was supposed to go to Broomfield on the Monday for the job that appears to be Barry's alibi. And it's going to be interesting to hear about from Cassidy. And we got Shirley Morphew, who is Barry's mother and is obviously a hostile witness, I guess. She's being called by the prosecution, but she is a supporter of her son. Let's see. Skipping over all the police officers and their different specialties, because I happen to know that some of them specialize in various things that would help, like figuring out the timing of Suzanne's demise, time of year, when her remains were likely reinterred over there where they were found, because obviously they had been interred someplace else. For some reason, we have a Travis Medina from Alpine Towing in Buena Vista, Colorado. I wonder what that's about. Of course, we got someone from Deesland, where Barry worked. We've got Dave Barnes from the Safeway in Salida. We've got Jeff Libler, Suzanne's lover, and he'll be able to give more information as to when he can last verify that Suzanne was alive, because there is question as to whether it was Suzanne or Barry pretending to be Suzanne who was last using Suzanne's phone. We've got, let's see, who else did I... Yeah, there was a couple people from the Salida Stolen Spa where Barry did buy pool chemicals. And we've got, let's see, lots and lots of popo, okay? Oh, somebody from Waste Management. And we've got Crib, Justin Cribari. Remember, Crib had something to do with the... Hubby got bored and was pushing buttons. Hubby got bored and was pushing buttons, and we went bye-bye for a while. So I don't know exactly when he popped us out of there, but I mentioned that Justin Cribari is on the witness list, and so is John Beaumont, who is the husband of Suzanne, I believe. I'll have to check. So never mind, scratch that one. George Davis, we got to see him practically making love to Suzanne's bicycle with Barry, and also giving Barry big old giant hugs on the day that Suzanne was reported missing. Wonder if he's still supportive of Barry, or whether he's going to be having some interesting insider information for us at trial. There's a couple of different people in Texas. I'll have to try to figure out why we've got people from Texas on here, what that's all about. We've got Sheila Oliver, who is the friend of Suzanne's, who actually provided the spy pen that Suzanne wanted to use to catch Barry in wrongdoing. But the spy pen also is how law enforcement figured out about Jeff Libler. We've got Kirby Lewis on here, who is another one of the people that worked with Barry. Wonder what he is going to say. Morgan Gentile's on there. Eric Morgan, another Suzanne relative. Oh, another person from the Stove and Spa. We've got.
You hit the like button, everybody, while we're slow.
Pete Cushman. He owns the house that Shoshana was the housekeeper at, and the house and property where Barry went and stayed last time he was out on bond, when he had the GPS bracelet before, but it didn't work, so he didn't have to be accounted for.
He's going to be staying in a different location this time, so
yeah,
maybe the ankle monitor will work this time around.
Yeah, hopefully. Let's see. And Carl Colby. I still haven't found enough information on Carl Colby. I'm going to have to do more of a deep dive and figure out what's going on with that guy, because I have heard that he's deceased, but I haven't found proof that he's deceased. But Carl Colby being on the witness list was very interesting. He's also known as Crazy Carl. He owns a trailer that is on a property near where Suzanne's body was found, and Carl just happens to be the boyfriend of Edna Quintana, a woman who also went missing. She went missing in Scotch County when she had gone on a rock hounding hike with Carl Colby. He said that she went back to the car without him, and that when he returned to the car, she wasn't there, but her purse was still in the car. And it was actually a search for Edna's remains on that property near Carl's trailer, where they actually found Suzanne.
Very crazy.
Edna has now also been found, but she was in a remote area near where she had supposedly been rock hounding with Carl. And, Chris Mormon, another relative of Suzanne's, on the list. Cody Cox, who is another affiliate of Barry's, is on the list. Tim KLCO, who was in Barry's phone, and I forget what exactly the significance of Tim was, but Tim was a part of the other prosecution of Barry. Anyway, he's a witness again, as is Lauren Scharf. We
haven't seen much of Lauren Scharf lately, have you?
Yeah, she's no longer with the news station, but when she was with the news station, she was very professional, and she ran down an interview with Jeff Puckett and also a couple interviews with Barry, and had quite a lot to say. Oh, there's a third person from Salida Stove and Spa. And like I said, the Hardy family is on there. And so quite a thorough witness list. And, oh, thank you very much, Moonlight. Thank you very much.
That came in a while ago, right where you were reading.
Oh, okay, when I was reading.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody on there...
I don't believe that's true. Edna told when? No.
Let's see. Matt Black. was told that Carl died. We'll have to
Edna was already.
yeah, Edna's already deceased, so I'm a little bit confused. Rainbow, can you give
I know she has great information. Rainbow.
Oh, Rainbow says cancer did him in. Okay. Do you know when Carl passed on? And also, where did Matt Black post the information? Is it on YouTube at all? Because I'm no longer on any other social media. I'm only on YouTube now. I do YouTube and I do Google searches. I don't do social media anymore. It's quite freeing, actually, because I'm able to spend more time with my family by not being absorbed in my phone, and a lot less stressful. And anybody who's listening, Rainbow Ramblings is a great source for information as well. She's got
she's been super helpful.
Follow the link to her YouTube channel. She doesn't have YouTube videos posted, but she does in her community post lots of interesting information.
And we don't post links on this channel anyways. But we will promote Rainbow Rambling. She's been great.
Yeah, I don't have links right now because YouTube thought I was swearing by putting links in there, and so I'm just like, stay away. Let's see. There's an X post.
Yeah, like we're not on X anymore.
Yeah. So I'll just try to find the information or whatever and I'll definitely go check out Rainbow again and get this all. Try to get it consolidated so I can share it all with the rest of you in case you don't feel like chasing down all the information that people have on this.
Thank you, Rainbow,
and
for
thank
everything you've done.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rainbow. And Rainbow actually was one of the people that let us know that there was someone boots on the ground that knew that Barry's release was in the works. And of course, we didn't have our boots on the ground over there in Alamosa at the time.
I knew when we called the jail and they put us in voicemail, something's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's when I knew for sure something was about to happen. And then I knew for sure when they contacted me to let me know that he had been released.
And then we got notified.
And told us to do stuff for our safety and whatever. But
so if anything happens to us,
the Rainbow
now
definitely
that
gave us the heads up.
Been released, we have no plans.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And so that's what's up with that stuff. And
we've been on almost 1 hour and a half. So
yeah, and I'm getting quite dry.
We should cut this down. Any more questions? The last questions, and we're gonna go.
Yep. And it's about time for us to go to bed.
Any Barry and Suzanne? We have a lot of information on that. Check out some of the videos, on the channel. We've documented the places where this has happened. A lot of car wrecks.
And we'll probably either post a video or go live again tomorrow. So have your notification bells on.
Hit that like button and just pummel it and just mess it up and just smash that like button, everybody.
Yeah, beat up the like button. All that stuff really helps us out big time on the channel. So without further ado, I'm going to go and take a big sip of my water.
Okay.
Oh no.
First day with a straw. Okay.
Yeah, now I'm going to choke. I'm drowning.
I think this would be a good time to
I gotta go.
Thank you.